Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole? Would I be the A-hole public? And it's by user HungrySprinkles193. Am I the a-hole for moving on with my ex after my best friend told me she didn't want me? I, 24 male, have been friends with Chloe, 23 female, for 5 years. She's always been there for me, so when she planned to visit me a few months ago, I was excited to finally hang out. Before the trip, she admitted she'd had feelings for me for 3 years. We ended up hooking up while she was here. By the end of the visit, I'd told her I had real feelings and wanted to see if something could come from it. She told me no, she just wanted to stay friends. I was hurt, but I respected it. A month later, she came back saying she couldn't hide it anymore and wanted to try. We started talking, but it never became a relationship. She was going through family drama, lost her job, bouncing between couches. I even asked if being with me was too much for her right now, and she agreed it was better to stay friends. So I let it go again. I had even planned a trip to fly out and see her for my birthday to see if she was serious, but she canceled on me twice. Meanwhile, she was chatting with her old flings, which I didn't care about since she told me we were just friends. Not long after, my ex, 22 female, reached out. We'd ended on okay terms, so we started talking. I told her I wanted to take things slow. Out of respect, I told Chloe immediately. She got mad, ghosted me, then came back still sending flirty messages. At one point, after saying she didn't want a relationship, she texted, "But I miss you and your bed." So I moved forward with my ex. When I mentioned spending time with my ex and her family, Chloe exploded. She accused me of leading her on, said I was choosing someone else over her, then cut me off. The next day, she was reposting TikToks like, "When he makes you cry like this," and "Man ain't crap." The thing is, I never lied, never hid anything. I asked her multiple times to clarify what she wanted, and she told me twice she didn't want a relationship. I respected her decision every time. She's the one who flip-flopped, canceled trips, flirted after telling me no, and then got mad when I moved on. So, am I the a-hole for moving on after she made it clear she didn't want me? No, OP, I don't think you're the a-hole. As you said, she rejected you twice. She made it clear to you that she didn't want a relationship, but she keeps doing this other crap that nobody really has any time for. Which is why I don't understand that part where you say, out of respect for Chloe, you told her about you moving on with your ex or going out with her and her family and all that. Why? Why do you feel the obligation to keep her updated on what you do? That's where I think you're wrong, but the good thing is that you've moved on from Chloe. At least that's what you tell us. And hopefully it stays that way, OP, because unless you haven't seen it yet, Chloe clearly doesn't really care much about you and she just wants you to hang around in her orbit because, I don't know, maybe you make her feel good about herself. Which is of course very selfish, but she doesn't really want to be with you. So I think it's time to put Chloe in the rearview mirror. Stop talking to her and stop talking about her. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Neighborhood No 1623 says, "Not the a-hole. Chloe wants you to chase her but will never want you and never did. You are only there to boost her ego, so she knows a poor sucker will always be chasing her and be alone. Stop caring about Chloe because she does not care for you. Move on with your ex, but also tell and show your ex about the flirty messages in case she tries anything to break you two up. Then please, honey, block Chloe everywhere. This is not a friend." Songwriter says, "This is why you don't F friends. You both sound like you are all over the place. She came to see me. We slept together. She didn't want me. She did want me. I was gonna go see her twice, but she canceled. She was communicating with her exes. Then all of a sudden, I went back with my ex, and now she is pissed. You are both a-holes. You should have stuck together because you could drive each other crazy." Spool32 says, "Not the a-hole, my guy. She tried to play you and you treated her like a respectable friend. You were a normal, decent dude and the manipulation didn't work, so she flipped when you moved on. People often get mad when their games don't work on well-adjusted, ethical people. Don't sweat it. You did nothing. I would, sadly, let this weird friendship fade away. She'll only show up to create chaos and try to win." And OP responds, yeah, that hits hard because I really did value the friendship, but I guess all I did was give her room to play games. Far Butterfly 6214 says, sounds like Chloe effed around and found out. I'm sorry, but why are you even still talking to this girl? What does she bring to your life other than drama, mixed signals, manipulation, and stupid games? Keeping in contact with her is only going to result in issues between you and your ex or current partner. Let Chloe be dramatic all over someone else and move on. And Beneficial Sort 4795 says, not the a-hole. Chloe wants you as a backup in case she can't find any better. Her reaction is basically, how dare you not sit around and wait for me to decide if I want you or not? Chloe is drama. Focus where you're at and with who you're with, and stop trying to even be friends with this messy girl. She needs drama and you shouldn't let her use you to make it. Additional information from OP's comments. Looking back, the thing that really hit me is how Chloe only ever seemed interested once I stopped chasing. The second I started moving on, suddenly there'd be some interest again. It felt less like she actually wanted me and more like I was just a safety net she didn't want to lose. And just to clear up the timeline, when my ex first reached out, it was literally just small talk. I didn't let it go anywhere beyond that until Chloe had told me twice that she didn't want a relationship. It wasn't until I knew for sure that door was closed that I decided to see if something could work again with my ex. I've been open about that with both of them. Since then, I've stepped away from Chloe completely. I don't want to talk to her anymore and don't plan to. My focus now is on my relationship, and honestly, it's been going really well. My ex and I agreed to take things slow this time, and that's made a big difference. I'll admit, I held on longer than I should have. I missed a lot of red flags because I wanted to believe her when she said she had feelings. But the truth is, she just wanted the attention without any of the commitment. Once I finally accepted that, it made moving on a lot easier. The community agrees that Chloe doesn't sound like a true friend to OP, and that's the right thing to just let her go. So let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. So I didn't expect my original post to blow up the way it did, but thank you to everyone who commented. It actually helped me put a lot in perspective. A lot of you said Chloe just wanted attention and to keep me as a backup. And after this week, I can't even argue with that. Here's what went down. A few days ago, I'm on my lunch break, literally driving to Culver's, when Chloe calls me out of nowhere. I let it go to voicemail. Against my better judgment, I called back and asked if she meant to. She said no, she was actually trying to call another friend whose name is right next to mine. I said no problem, she wished me a good day and that was that. Except it wasn't. About an hour later, she calls again. I ignore it. Text, another accident? She doesn't answer, but then calls me again. This time I picked up. She tells me, I don't like this game. I know I probably hurt your feelings. I'm not mad at you, just the situation. I said, yeah, I was hurt. She threw away a 5-year friendship over a mess she created and strung me through. She said she understood, then hung up because her mom was calling. Not even 5 minutes later, she texts me. Says she can't call again but can text, then drops this bomb. When I said I loved you, it wasn't in a friend way. I reminded her that I told her multiple times I had feelings too, and she's the one who wanted things back to normal and later told me a relationship was too much. I laid it out. She rejected me twice. Honestly, 3 times if you count when I asked straight up if we were just friends and she said yes, about a month and a half ago. Her reply, I bet you have a whole new girl and never even liked me in the first place. Not true at the time, and I did have feelings for her, truly. So I asked, how can she be mad at me for moving on when I was literally doing what she asked me to do? I told her, if anything, we should have kept it at a friendship level to avoid all the mixed signals. She fires back, I don't want to be friends. I asked why she reached out at all. Her answer, because I didn't know if you would ever give it a chance. So I spelled it out clearly. I did give it a chance. Multiple times. She said no. Thrice told me she didn't want a relationship. Twice canceled trips I planned to see her. At that point, I had no choice but to move on. I told her my decision is final, I've moved on, and I wished her the best. She replied, "Please, no." But I stood firm, told her I respect her, I wish her well, but I'm not going back. So yeah, this confirmed everything you guys warned me about. She wanted me as an option, not a choice. And the second I stopped playing along, she couldn't handle it. Honestly, looking back, the biggest thing I've realized is just how much peace I lost by keeping Chloe in my life. Blocking her doesn't even feel petty anymore. It feels like actual self-care. If I'm being blunt, I was basically her stand-in boyfriend whenever life got rough. Loyal, patient, always there, but never actually given the relationship she dangled in front of me. At times it felt like I was her emotional support animal more than a real partner or even a respected friend. It's a hard pill to swallow, but I guess this was the lesson I needed. My 20s are apparently just a crash course in learning to spot red flags the hard way. And I can tell you now, I've got no interest in a round 2. This was a one-way ticket out of her drama and I don't plan on ever looking back. Standing firm wasn't easy, part of me wanting to bend to keep the peace, but choosing myself this time around was honestly the best decision I've made in a long time. Good for you, OP. Just cut out the toxic and move on. Absolutely agree with you. It is the best decision you could have made. So here's wishing you the best in the future, OP. Thanks so much for sharing and take care. And now, let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user PastEntrepreneur7852. Am I the a-hole if I blow up my dad's secret relationship by telling my stepmom? So this whole thing has spiraled over the past month and I'm still kind of shocked, but I'll try to keep it short-ish. Before Father's Day, I talked to my dad and he said he was going off-roading with my sister's fiance. Last minute he cancelled and said he pulled a calf muscle and would be staying home. Weird, since he usually pushes through pain for the sake of doing fun things, but okay. Around the same time, my stepmom and her sister told me they would be out of town for the weekend and to show my dad lots of love while they were gone and that they felt bad they had to leave him alone that weekend and stuff. I didn't go see him, long story, but I don't have a close relationship with him. I sent a Happy Father's Day text and left it there. Turns out, my brother did go over. He called my dad beforehand, and when he got there, my dad had made a pasta dinner for 2. There was a woman there, over a decade younger than him, who he has never seen. My dad said she was a very old friend from work, that they have known each other forever, but we've literally never seen him with a platonic female friend in our lives. Not once. Whenever he's around women, it's either his partner or his friends' wives, partners, friends, etc., and he rarely talks to them. Fast forward. I text on the 4th of July saying Happy 4th, and he says he's out of state at a family friend's house, sort of. A house of someone I'm much closer to than he is. He doesn't even like them, so I wonder to myself what's up, but I don't think too deep about it. I brushed it off, but it gets weirder. My sister calls me a couple of weeks later. My dad had called her and told her he was going to a campsite 3 hours away just to take pictures and sit in nature. I cannot emphasize enough how much this is not his vibe at all. He said he was going alone, then complained about his wife being boring and never going anywhere with him. My sister kept repeating, "Well, be safe out there alone," until he finally admitted he wasn't going alone. He was going with an old friend, but didn't want to tell his wife because it was a woman. Then, right before this trip, he calls and asks me to watch a labradoodle that belongs to a friend. I just know it's the same woman's dog too. I ask if the dog is good with other dogs and birds, and he casually drops that they brought the dog with them to that friend's house for the 4th of July, which his wife does not know about. He explicitly told my sister that he went alone as well. I agreed to watch the dog because I wanted to meet her, see if I just forgot someone from the past or something, and get a sense if this is a really big deal. They show up today. I have never met this woman. She's probably 15 years younger than my dad, and when I ask, "So, where are you headed?" she freezes and just says, just have some things to do. Liar. I'm pissed. I also texted a mutual friend who was at the property on the 4th. They confirmed my dad brought this woman and said she was awkward, claimed they were just friends even though no one asked, and that my dad told them not to tell anyone she was there. So, I now know that my dad brought this woman on 2 solo trips, had her over for dinner on Father's Day while his wife was out of town, introduced her to people while saying, "Don't tell," and she's actively lying about where she's going now. I'm 99% sure my stepmom doesn't know any of this. She's so sweet, and she and my dad are supposed to move out into a new home in less than a month. I have had conversations with her, and she always says she never worries about my dad cheating. He's not that guy. That they are just so good together, and that's the last thing she worries about. She says she likes not worrying because she doesn't like the person she becomes when she has to worry. This has been keeping me up at night because I know in my heart I would have already told if it were anyone else, but I have this tugging feeling that since it's my parents, it's not my place. Would I be the a-hole if I told her? I'm scared he's going to blow up on me. He's sort of the aggro, narcissistic type, and I'm just really nervous. If you told, would you go straight to her and lay it all out, or would you try to be more discreet in helping her discover the truth? Thanks in advance. This is all really stressing me out. Well, Opie, in the way that you present the facts, it definitely does sound like your dad is having an affair, and I do believe your stepmom has the right to know. I'm sure if you were in her situation, you'd like to know too, regardless of who the messenger was. And if your dad calls you to berate you or flips out on you, then just hang up on him or close the door in his face. He cheated, and it's never justified. So no, Opie, you wouldn't be the a-hole. It's the right thing to do. Tell her. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section. And now let's check out the community comments. Clear-headed01 says, "Tell her. Sounds like your dad is cheating, so tell her and let her handle it herself. Not the a-hole if you tell her." Agreeable Region 310 says, "Tell her your dad's odd behavior. You don't actually know if he's cheating, and that is up to the stepmom to figure it out. If she asks you for additional information, only tell her what you actually know when you answer her specific questions." One Rainbow Unicorn says, "Not the a-hole. I can't believe you watched that woman's dog. Stepmother needs to know. You may need to block your father because she sounds like an abusive piece of crap. Get a cheap ring cam in case he comes to your home to blow up. Don't answer the door, and if he gets out of control, call the cops." Well, the community was clear and concise. Not the a-hole if she tells, and she should do so. So let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. I did it. I went over to my stepmom's house while my dad was out of town and told her everything I know. She was totally blindsided. She was angry. She was absolutely shattered. She was shaking and said she never saw this coming. She told me things had actually been going better lately. My dad had taken her out on a date just the day before and was being unusually affectionate and sweet. She really thought they were in a good place. Before I told her anything, she was cheerfully chatting and brought up that shrimp pasta your dad makes. My sister and I just froze. That's what he made for the other woman. We both felt sick. She was so happy and welcoming and excited to have us there. It was heartbreaking. She mentioned that usually he invites her and her sister to church every weekend, and he had randomly stopped doing that over the past month. He also stopped inviting other family members who usually goes to. Apparently, she actually wanted to go on this recent trip with him, but he told her he had to take a certain road that she hates because of how he drives on it. Said it would be dangerous, so she stayed behind. They'd had a location sharing app for years, mostly just in case of emergencies. She rarely checks it unless she needs to see if he's near a store or something, but after I talked to her, she decided to look. That's when everything started to click for her. He hadn't gone to work at all that day. He drove to a nearby town, ate at a taqueria for hours, then checked into an inn. We later found out that her sister overheard him booking that room, and he specifically asked for a king bed instead of 2 queens. She didn't think any of it at the time since he normally books kings for work travel. My stepmom texted him while he was still at the restaurant, pretending like she had figured out a way to make the drive after all. Then she said something like, "You're not answering because your girlfriend is with you, huh?" And finally told him to pack a bag and get out. He never replied. He didn't call. He just went on with his night and stayed at the hotel with the other woman. The next morning, he finally called. At first, he denied anyone was with him. Then he admitted someone was, but claimed it was just a friend. He told my stepmom this was her fault for never going anywhere with him. When she pointed out that she knew it wasn't a work trip, he first denied that too, then backtracked and said, "Yeah, you're right, it's not work, but it's not what you think, she's just a friend." She told him to come pack a bag and leave. He insisted on coming home to talk it out. I really hope she sticks to her guns and doesn't let him spin this into anything but what it is. As for me, I still have the labradoodle. After telling her, I texted my dad and said, "I just outed you to your wife. I hope this was a misunderstanding. What the F is going on? Call me back." It's been over 15 hours. No call, no text, nothing. I sent that message because I didn't want my siblings to take the blame or be put in a position where he tries to guilt them. My stepmom had already let him know she knew, but I wanted him to hear it from me that I was the one who said something. Every time my phone rings, I get nervous it's going to be him, but I feel better having gotten it off my chest. I do think I did the right thing. One thing I'm specifically glad about, I stopped my stepmom from moving into a new house with him. When I got to her place to talk, she was literally packing. That crushed me. Thankfully, she'll be staying in the home she already shares with her sister instead. That said, my partner thinks I should have given my dad a warning first. Something like, "Tell her or I will." He believes it would have hurt less coming from him, and maybe it would have. It probably did hit harder coming from me with all the details. I know some family members are going to have mixed feelings about how I handled this, but I stand by it. Opie, again, I think you were right in telling her. She is going to feel the pain regardless of who tells her. So good for you for doing the right thing. And here's wishing you the best, Opie. Thanks so much for sharing and take care. And now let's finish this video with a quick mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance and it's by user Dartis. Something added in my contract to restrict me was something I later used to help me. When I first joined a particular company, they had a number of offices in the nearby city. Because they wanted to essentially force us to work in whichever office they wanted, they added a line in my contract saying that I could work anywhere in the city. Years later, and those offices have gone. There's just the one. That clause is removed from contracts for anyone else starting at the company. Then our department gets outsourced to another company. As part of UK law, which makes transfer of people between companies easier, they have to take my contract as is, which they did. They then decided to reallocate many of the people to other parts of their company throughout the country, expecting you to commute sometimes hours away. Except me. That part of my contract still present meant that they could only send me somewhere in the local city, and they had no other offices there, so I stayed. Years later, I'm insourced back and the company tries to send me to the other side of the country for a few days to work. I tap on my contract once again. There's something refreshing about being able to use a contract clause initially added to force me to doing something for them against the company. Well, OP, sounds like that clause turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Thanks so much for sharing, OP. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.